Everyone, this is Kavita. Welcome back to my channel KSD Learning Time. Today we are going to learn an interesting story, that is The Black Aeroplane, from two stories about flying written by Frederick Forsyth. In this chapter, the narrator, this writer, is a pilot who is flying from Paris to London, and he is so eager to meet his family and have a good breakfast, and that he takes the wrong decision of facing the storm to reach earlier to his family instead of doing the right thing. Miraculously, he somehow manages to escape with the help of a black mysterious aeroplane. And exactly what was that mysterious aeroplane? Let's read and understand the lesson. The moon was coming up in the east behind me. Now here narrator is telling us this story. So I means here narrator. And stars were shining in the clear sky above me. There wasn't a cloud in the sky. I was happy to be alone high up above the sleeping countryside. I was flying my old Dakota aeroplane over France back to England. I was dreaming of my holiday and looking forward to being with my family. I looked at my watch 1:30 in the morning, and now here you can understand it was night time when the sky was clear and the stars could be seen twinkling. The pilot felt peace in being above a country that had fallen asleep as it was night time while he was flying over France to England. And it was 1:30 in the morning, and he was fantasizing about holidaying with his family. He was just in the imagination that within few minutes he will be there with his family. Here, he said, I could call Paris control soon. He thought that he could call Paris control soon. As I looked down past the nose of the aeroplane, I saw the lights of a big city in front of me. I switched on the radio and said, Paris control, Dakota DS-088 here. Can you hear me? I'm on my way to England. Over. The voice from the radio answered me immediately. DS-088, I can hear you. You ought to turn 12 degrees west now, DS-088, over. Now, when the aeroplane was in France, the pilot thought of informing the Paris control person about its presence and for instructions also. At that time, light from the Paris city were blaring at him. It was shining towards him, and he informed the control agency, to which they replied with further instruction on directions, and the control room at Paris instructed him to turn 12 degrees towards the west. I checked the map and the compass, switched over my second and last fuel tank, and turned the Dakota 12 degrees west towards England. And I will be in time for breakfast, I thought. A good big English breakfast. Everything was going well. It was an easy flight. And as it is given in this paragraph, let's understand. After receiving the instructions, the pilot geared up and followed them while putting the last fuel tank into operation. All this time, he was dreaming about his family, that within some time, within few minutes, he will reach to his family. And then he started thinking about having a satisfactory breakfast at the destination point. Means when he will reach to his family, at that point, he will have breakfast happily with his family members. And he was calm as everything was going as planned. Now let's understand the next paragraph. Paris was about 150 kilometers behind me when I saw the clouds. Storm clouds. They were huge. They looked like black mountains standing in front of me across the sky. I knew I could not fly up and over them, and I did not have enough fuel to fly around them to the north or south. I ought to go back to Paris, I thought, but I wanted to get home. I wanted that breakfast. I will take the risk, I thought. I flew that old Dakota straight into the storm. Now here, what writer exactly want to say, let's understand. As he was flying from Paris to London, the plane had crossed Paris when he started seeing clouds in the sky, and the presence of clouds made it unsafe to travel by air because there were chances of a storm. They were so huge and dark that the pilot compared, narrator compared them with black mountains. They were exactly standing in front of him, and he knew he couldn't pass them as it was impossible to go above them or escape them with last remaining fuel tank. The right decision would have been to fly back to Paris safely, but the pilot, narrator's decision making was clouded by his wish to meet his family, and he so desperately wanted to be with his family and have that English breakfast. He was just daydreaming, and that he took the risk of not going back. Thus he headed the plane right into the storm. Now let's understand what happened next. Inside the clouds, everything was suddenly black. It was impossible to see anything outside the aeroplane. The old aeroplane jumped and twisted in the air. I looked at the compass. I couldn't believe my eyes. The compass was turning round and round and round. It was dead. It would not work. The other instruments were suddenly dead too. I tried the radio. Here exactly what had happened. See, it was so dark because of the storm that nothing was visible outside the plane, and he started losing control of the aeroplane, and the compass and the other instruments had also stopped working because of the bad weather, as you can see in the picture also, and he became helpless. Paris control, can you hear me? There was no answer. The radio was dead too. I had no radio, no compass, and I could not see where I was. I was lost in the storm. Then in the black clouds quite near me, I saw another aeroplane, and it had no lights on its wings, but I could see it flying next to me through the storm. I could see the pilot's face turned towards me. I was very glad to see another person. He lifted one hand and waved, "Follow me." He was saying, "Follow me." And he knows that I am lost, I thought, and he's trying to help me. Here, now, author is in the difficult, critical situation, and he tried to call the Paris control who had helped him earlier, but now couldn't connect because of the weather. And in the midst of nowhere, when everything failed, he saw a ray of hope. And what was that? He saw another aeroplane. He felt relieved when he saw another pilot's face and willingness to help him escape the storm. He thought to himself that the other pilot is very kind, as he knew that they were lost and was trying to help him without asking the help. He turned his aeroplane slowly to the north in front of my Dakota so that it would be easier for me to follow him. I was very happy to go behind the strange aeroplane like an obedient child. After half an hour, the strange black aeroplane was still there in front of me in the clouds. Now there was only enough fuel in the old Dakota's last tank to fly for 5 or 10 minutes more. Now let's understand. The other pilot took his plane ahead of the lost aeroplane to make it easier for them to follow, while the author followed him like obedient child. And he was also panicking because there was very less amount of fuel. It will go just for next 5 or 10 minutes more. I was starting to feel frightened again, but then he started to go down and I followed through the storm. Suddenly I came out of the clouds and saw 2 long straight lines of lights in front of me, and it was a runway, an airport. I was safe. I turned to look for my friend in the black aeroplane, but the sky was empty. There was nothing there. The black aeroplane was gone. I could not see it anywhere. It was only then that he started coming out of the storm and could see the runway to land his plane safely. When he turned to thank the other pilot, he realized that the plane that helped him had disappeared as soon as he came out of the storm, and that was one mysterious black aeroplane. I landed and was not sorry to walk away from the old Dakota near the control tower. I went and asked a woman in the control center where I was and who the other pilot was. I wanted to say thank you. She looked at me very strangely and then laughed. "Another aeroplane up there in the storm?" she asked. Now here what had happened, the author did not know where he had landed but was not afraid of leaving his plane unattended. He headed straight into the control room, and there he has seen one of the lady. He asked her about another pilot and another black aeroplane. To his utmost surprise, the lady informed him that there was no other plane in the sky. No other aeroplanes were flying tonight. Yours was the only one I could see on the radar. What is radar? Radar is a system for detecting the presence, direction, distance and speed of aircraft. So, who helped me to arrive there safely without a compass or a radio and without any more fuel in my tanks? Who was the pilot on the strange black aeroplane flying in the storm without lights? Now here, author narrator was too surprised exactly what had happened with him. So here, he was asking to that lady that exactly who was there in that black aeroplane, who was the pilot. As the lady was also surprised, the lady informed him that there was no other plane in the sky except his because of the bad weather. He's left astonished with a lot of questions unanswered in his mind. He left shocked when she says that his was the only plane in the sky, and the pilot of the old Dakota plane who is flown out of the storm by a mysterious black aeroplane. Sometimes it gets tough for us to take decisions, and doubt creates a lot of fear. We consider some helpful incidents to be miracles and mysteries, and these incidents take us out of trouble and are nothing else but our mind's courage and strength. Thanks for watching. If you like these videos, don't forget to like, share and subscribe our channel.